Hey, we're back from a couple week vacation on a all new episode of Garage Talk.
And we got a new segment we're going to talk about. The other thing is, I have coffee instead of beer, so it tells you what time it is. We'll introduce our new segment, Florida Man versus Arizona Man.
And we look into some other racing from Formula One and NASCAR, IndyCar. Oh, and all those driver changes that seem to maybe be coming up or rumors. All that and more right now.
All right, welcome back from our couple week summer break. This is FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Eric Richardson.
And Eric, you have been moving to Florida.
Yes,
It's
I'm in
uh
Florida.
it's taken you a little bit longer to get set up, so that's why we took off the extra week, which is fine because I had a lot to do to catch up on anyway. So how's the move going?
It's going. Just slowly but surely it's coming along. Finally getting settled. Hopefully here pretty soon back into some jobs, getting hired into some swim lesson stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So it's something, and actually have an interview next week for a high school coach.
Hey, that's good too. So you're going from seeing the sun like 1 month a year to seeing the sun pretty much every day. So it's
Except for the couple hours that it rains and storms and
oh
then it
yeah.
gets sunny again. But
Yeah.
that's Florida in the summer.
Hey, you're only like what, 40 minutes from Disney World?
Yeah, not too far. I've been down at Disney Springs a few times already, and we were planning on going to the beach here today, but there's a tropical system maybe coming in over the weekend here, so that plan has changed a little bit. But
Would that be Daytona Beach?
yeah, I'm only about 49 minutes from it's actually from the Buckies, but it's right there by the Speedway.
The Space Coast of Florida. Yeah, so
And then
awesome.
we're like 30, 40 minutes away from Cocoa Beach.
Nice. Yeah, so we've also had to adjust our recording schedule a little bit. You can see I have a coffee instead of my usual beer, which gives you a hint on what time it is. It's very early on the West Coast here, which is fine, but we'll be playing around with our recording time. But our plan is still to just release episodes weekly again on Friday mornings as we've been doing. Uh, you know, but that's really about it. So we're going to, before we get into our normal round of things, we're going to introduce a new segment, as that we'll be doing here, just kind of a goofy thing we're doing. So, if you look at, there's the well-known Florida man stories that you hear, but also there's not as well-known but equally as goofy Arizona man stories, and there's kind of this Arizona Florida rivalry for like dumbest stories. It may be crimes, it may be just stupid things in general. So, this is our brand new segment, Florida Man, Arizona Man.
So what I got for you here, it's basically a modern day Catch Me If You Can. There's a Florida man who posed as a flight attendant and scored dozens of free flights. What was it? I guess flew on 34, but it booked as many as 120, I believe.
Wow. You kicked off the Florida Man segment. Oh, the other thing is we'll put a poll into Spotify, who which is the goofier story of the week. So you got to vote for Florida Man versus Arizona Man. We'll keep a tally going and see how this goes. Um, so Eric, sorry, continue.
And I guess he actually had some like insider access and used it and was actually vetted properly, but still kind of got in trouble for it.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Homeland Security is freaking out about that. They get upset about a shampoo bottle in your carry-on, and this guy's sneaking onto flights.
Yeah, TSA actually said while the person was able to board flights by fraudulently obtaining a boarding pass, he did undergo all applicable TSA security procedures, including ID verification and physical screening, and did not pose a threat to other airline passengers. That was from the TSA.
All right. So
So
that,
that's Florida Man for this week.
and I'm surprised you kicked off Florida Man and the story didn't involve meth. So,
Oh, I'll have plenty of
Yeah,
those.
I'm
I'm
sure
sure.
that's going to be a common theme. So for Arizona, man, this happened. This is a story that went viral, which normally wouldn't be that big of a deal. But over in downtown Phoenix at Chase Field, the Arizona Diamondbacks were playing the San Francisco Giants the other night, and a fan in the front row of the left field bleachers interfered with the ball, and uh, he was. Let me see here. Yeah, a deep fly ball hit by Giants third baseman Christian Koss appeared to be tracking over the wall for a game-tying home run. Instead, the fan dove across three other fans on top of the outfield wall to snag the ball with his glove. And initially, the fans ruled, or the umpires ruled this as an out by fan interference. After review, they called it a double. And it's like, okay, fan interference, not that big of a deal. Side note, I went on Sunday to the game with my kids and got my Hello Kitty Diamondbacks
Nice.
bobblehead. That was the only reason my kids wanted to go. But so the thing is about this man is he's a season ticket holder. He has been banned from Chase Field for the rest of the year and will be allowed back next year if he behaves himself. But here's the thing with this man. He interfered with this play, but he has interfered and required umpire review not this year, not just last year, not just the year before, but the year before that. So he has been involved in a fan interference play in 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. And we're just finding out about this now that it's the same guy. It's like this 50 something year old dude who shows up with a baseball glove to a Diamondbacks game and steals home run balls and is required umpire reviews over this. It's like, come on, man. Like
How are you
it's
still allowed back
absurd.
after the second and third times?
Yeah. So it was actually John Boy Media that posted a clip that said this same guy's been involved in fan interference plays for 4 straight years. Could you imagine like
Oh, yeah, I was watching that. I did see that.
yeah, 4 straight years he's reached over the wall or interfered with the outfielder trying to catch the ball and it's funny with the opposing announcers. The fan told FM 98.7 FM in Phoenix, it's their local sports radio station, that he's caught 24 home run balls in his life and that doing so is quote one of my things. But come on, dude, like you're a 50 something year old man interfering with Major League Baseball games. Like sit down.
Come
But
on, man.
but it's like I wonder if it's like it's not that the Diamondbacks are struggling for attendance. For Sunday's game, it was pretty good. I would say they probably pushed 30,000 for a
It's
500 team.
good for them.
It's not bad. I mean, the thing about Chase Field though is like it was way overbuilt in the late 90s. They way overestimated the capacity of that place. Like that place seats the same as like Yankee Stadium. Like you're not getting 48,000 people to a I mean, they do get 48,000 people to playoff games when they make it, opening day and fireworks night,
Yeah,
where they open the roof at night after the game and just do a fireworks show. And so they'll sell out those games, but other than that, like no, like you're not pushing more than 30, maybe on occasion they'll tick over 40,000 when like the Cubs or Dodgers come to town, but it's way overbuilt. I mean, like the Braves when they built their new stadium, it's the Atlanta Braves who are frequently in the playoffs, have won a couple of World Series in the last 30 years, and their place seats only like 34,000. It's like, nah, like, no. So there you go. There's Florida man, Arizona man. Vote on those stories. Which one's the goofier story of a man sneaking on flights or a middle-aged man pushing his, into his 50s, stealing home run balls from Major League Baseball players?
on occasion I'll take a glove to a baseball game, but it finally came in handy a few years ago.
When we were there on Sunday, we got up in the third inning to go stand in line to meet the mascot for the kids, and like the mascot area is in the upper deck. We were sitting in the right field bleachers, and so we're standing in line. You're looking over and you can see the right field bleachers, and Ketel Marte, all-star starter, hits a home run like a row and a half over from where we were sitting.
Oh
Like
man.
after we got up, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So, but don't get me wrong, if I would have been down there, I would have been in that scrum going for that ball. Don't 40-year-old me. But anyway, some racing stuff. A lot of racing stuff since we've last
Man,
talked.
where do we go on that one?
We had the Mexico race where it seems like half the drivers got sick. We had Pocono, which drivers still were sick from Mexico.
Yes.
And then we went to Atlanta and wrecked like what, all but four drivers were involved in wrecks at some point.
Yeah, and there was a nice 23 car pileup. I
I
was,
think
man, I remember I was actually at Disney Springs during the race and I was tuning in back and forth. I turn it back on. I look at it. It's like, what is happening? This is like right at the immediate start of that wreck.
they they put up a stat on how many cautions they averaged or they've had in like the previous like before the repave, the previous 10 years, it was like 7 cautions or something like that. And then it's like since the repave, it was some absurdly high number. It was like 30 or something like that since the repave of Atlanta. Um, did you see Joey Logano's after and his driving back and his car's just like bouncing
Yeah.
up and down? And and there was a sarcastic video posted to social media that say the fans love Joey in Atlanta and it showed him driving his wrecked car and the fans going wild cheering.
You know, NASCAR probably got lucky that Chase Elliott won since he's already kind of sitting in the playoff spots and has been contending for a few spots, or for a few wins. Can you imagine if somebody else way down the point standings had pulled off the win there?
I mean, who was sitting up there? I mean, well, I guess technically Brad Keselowski's sitting way down the point standings. It was one of those things where he was leading late, and it's just like he's not going to win. Like it's just setting up. He's way too dominant, way too early, and someone's going to get him on the last lap. And you know, Chase Elliott kind of came out of nowhere those last 2 laps and was like, "Hey, here you go." Bowman was third, Reddick was fourth, Eric Jones was fifth, Stenhouse was sixth, Zane Smith was seventh, who was up there towards the front pretty late. Ty Dillon was eighth, who his little Denny zinger at the end was pretty funny too. Did you catch that one?
Uh, and it's great. Denny Hamlin like thoroughly enjoyed it.
Busher ninth, and then Carson Hocevar with the duct taped car finishes in the top 10 somehow.
Yeah, half of those cars that were in the top 10 there could have really messed up the playoffs a little bit, which would have made it fun.
Could you imagine if Zane Smith or Ty Dillon would have ended up winning that race?
Oh, that'd been wild. You know, we kind of give him some grief at times, but maybe hasn't had the finishes to show for it. But Ty Dillon is actually
He
having a solid
he has.
season.
My opinion on Ty Dillon has changed a bit this year. Just yeah, for that one, that's the main reason. But like he was super cool to my kids during the little autograph session when he came by and spent some extra time with everybody. And I'm just like, that's so cool. I'm just like, you've got a lot of heat, just your name and your affiliation with the sport, and doesn't bother him. He's still like super. He could be very closed off, but he's not. Like he's super cool with the kids, and I've really yeah, it was a
He
really, really
was only
positive
had what,
interaction.
the one little dust up with Austin Cindric at Coda, but he's been solid, kind of mid pack. You'll see him up front, just doing his thing.
The yeah, the other piece that sticks out. Yeah, you look at the bottom finishers, it almost looks like it was like flip-flopped for the most part. Uh, well, Blaney's last, who's had just the most unlucky year possible. I mean, Corey LaJoy and Cindric, Byron, Logano, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, who is out of a job at the end of the year. Chastain, Barry, Hamlin, Bell. That's your bottom 10 for the race.
Yeah, those are all potential winners.
Although Daniel Suarez mutually agrees to part ways at the end of the year with Trackhouse. That broke earlier this week. Not
I wonder where he ends up.
Yeah, he'll end up somewhere. It's He's a good driver. He's not a he hasn't been great, but he's had his moments. Um,
And he's had a lot of bad luck
he's
this
had a
year
lot of
too.
bad luck too. I think Trackhouse in general has had a lot of bad luck this year. But I think it's
Mm.
pretty obvious who's going to be replacing him.
Yeah, Connor Zelich is more than likely going to come in. It hasn't been confirmed, but he's probably going in.
I really like Connor Zilic. Like he is just so talented, and then if he can, carry that into a full time Cup ride, he could be a star. Like you're looking at, we talked previously about Carson Hocevar of just reining it in just a little bit. He could be a star that wins a bunch of races, and I feel while the driving styles are completely different, I think Zilic has the capability of being a star as well. He's just so multi-talented and
I've seen it a little bit. Does he need another season in the Xfinity though?
I mean it wouldn't hurt. I mean, does he absolutely need it? Hmm, probably. It probably would help. How old is he? He's only like what, 20?
Yeah, he's not very old. I've seen that, and especially if like what Kyle Larson was talking
No,
about. It's
jeez.
so actually he's only 19, isn't he?
He turns 19 in a couple weeks. Yeah, like
I could see him needing just another season. Case study, look at SVG.
yeah,
He has struggled on ovals.
badly. He's been
Even Xfinity, like he he was mid the backpack.
and it's
But
really
he's getting better.
it's really not fair because he came in as a relative, as a general unknown that to that Chicago street race a couple years ago and just beat the crap out of everybody and set the I mean granted it's a course, road course. It's what his specialty is in with supercars,
Mhm.
and just kind of set this unreasonable expectation right away, and then it's like they start putting him in ovals, which he's not experienced in, which is the bulk of the schedule, and he looks like many others who've come in from overseas to do NASCAR and struggle badly.
Yeah, he's definitely picked up and starting to run kind of solid on ovals. But it's been what, a season and a half now?
Yeah, that's about right.
And that's where I kind of wonder if some of these drivers that are getting pushed up to Cup too early just take one more season and just really get comfortable in it.
There,
Because the Xfinity to NASCAR or the Cup Series, it's such a big jump.
there was a propaganda F1 propaganda video that was trying to like crap on NASCAR that keeps making the rounds, and it's Juan Pablo Montoya at Watkins Glen years back, where he like crushed the track record during qualifying. And it's like, look at how he was too good for NASCAR. I'm like, if you take out that highlight and like is what 2 wins in 7 or 8 years on in which we're only on road courses. No, he was not too good for NASCAR. In fact, his only other highlight, as we've referenced many times before, was crashing into a jet dryer at Daytona. Like, let's be real here, propaganda guy.
I'm curious here.
Has an F1 driver come into NASCAR? I mean, there really haven't been like Mario Andretti doesn't count like that. I mean, in the modern era, has a driver come in from F1 and outside of some road course success been successful? I don't think the answer is no there, unless I'm like having it's early and I'm having a brain cramp. But you had Kimi Räikkönen in the Project 91 car a couple years ago and crashed out at Watkins Glen. Jenson Button did the Coda race where he was pretty mid pack, world champion Jenson Button, world mid pack. And he said afterwards that was like one of the hardest things he's ever done. He said there was more emotion in just that one race than an entire F1 season, which I'm sure the F1 fanboys didn't appreciate hearing that. In Montoya,
Yeah, I mean,
do you,
Xfinity Series, he had one win in 23 races, and it was in
do you
Mexico
count?
City.
Do you count Scott Speed?
Yeah, Cup, two wins, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, 256 races. Champ Car had 10 wins over 40 races.
I guess Jacques Villeneuve has done the Daytona 500.
And then, of course, he's got the two Indianapolis wins, five in IndyCar,
Daniel Kabat. It
and
just
seven
haven't
wins
been a lot
in
of F1 drivers to go down. I mean, they
first
do.
starts.
There's been almost like there's been more of the car swap bits.
Who was it? Um, Lewis Hamilton, and
Tony Stewart did a
that's it.
swap. Yeah, they did a swap at Watkins Glen years ago. Because Lewis was still with McLaren when that happened. That was years ago. Jeff Gordon and Juan Pablo Montoya did a swap at Indianapolis. Again, that was many years ago.
And not too many have jumped over into the Cup Series. A few more have been in IndyCar.
You see somebody like, I don't know, Alonso or somebody doing the Daytona 500 once F1 kind of comes to a close?
I don't know if many of the current F1 drivers would even jump into an oval.
Most, yeah. I mean, most of them have commented they wouldn't in an Indy car. So
I can't imagine they'd go,
uh,
oh, yeah, I'll do the Daytona 500, but I won't do the Indy 500.
the the thing too is like these drivers, like forget the fanboys here for a second that like crap on oval racing, but these drivers though they won't do it, but they respect the crap out of the drivers who do, and they know how difficult it is. They know it's not just turning left four times. Like there's way more into it, and the precision you need to like not kill everybody. I mean, look at what happened in Atlanta last
Hmm.
week. The
And
precision
especially on
needed.
some tracks like just Indianapolis, for example, if we've seen it time and time again, if you get slightly off, you're in the wall.
That
And
that
even the F1 drivers, they know that. And yeah, they get moving fast on the straights, but they also spend laps doing 50. They don't sustain 210, 220 miles an hour for time on end.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a different skill set. That's all it is. It's a completely different skill set. Just like dirt racing, just like sports car racing, karting, it's a different skill set. And it all requires a high level of skill and high amount of money. You're that ARCA driver who got himself in trouble for mocking like the rich kids in the sport who just don't care, and they fined him like $250 and put him on probation for the rest of the season after a race. Yeah, but it's like,
Well, we finally get what IndyCar back in action.
yeah,
I've had good races, and then let's take 3 weeks off. They
yeah.
just have to figure out a schedule to keep momentum.
That Mexico City rumor it keeps popping back up.
I could see it going.
I really wonder if NASCAR is going to make Mexico City a regular thing because I mean, especially with they showed the map of the travel schedule of having to go from like Michigan to Mexico City to Pocono. Uh, like the teams, you could tell were exhausted.
You should just make it following Coda.
Yeah, that that would make most sense.
And then
Or
it's
if you do
also,
the Texas race, wait, what? Yeah, it's the Texas race. I mean, they could do Texas Motor Speedway too, which I guess
I
that's
would,
roughly around the same time.
Yeah, I would argue do the Coda because then you can keep your road course cars
Oh yeah, yeah, good point.
together. You don't have to bring the swap out haulers up to Michigan to start changing over everything and then meet you back in Pocono. Unless you totally mangle your car at Coda or Mexico City, vice versa, depending which way you go, you're set.
Yeah, just as long as you're not Ricky Stenhouse Jr. battling near Carson Hocevar. Yeah, so Hocevar got himself into some hot water. We won't really recap it. You know, making comments about Mexico City on his stream, and he apologized and said that his comments were way out of line and wrong. And I do like in his apology that he said that he'll have to probably hide out and stay in Mexico City to hide from Ricky. Which,
They cannot stay away from each other on track right now. It's kind of funny.
but
Oh,
yeah, I've been. The other thing is Friday night. The Xfinity race at Atlanta was delayed due to lightning, and they were just killing time and interviewing drivers. And Catherine Legg was in there, and they interviewed her, and then they brought up her book, and they put up on the broadcast on a full screen broadcast the cover of her book. So I took a picture. I was standing in front of my iPad, and I just watching it on my iPad, and I snapped a picture with my phone and sent it to Andy. I was like, Andy, look, it goes the perks of a rain delay, and it just like completely caught him off guard. He didn't realize that, like, well, he knew she was in the race, but wasn't, he wasn't able to watch that night, and completely caught him off guard though, which was still really cool. So
still fun to see.
yeah, yeah. So Andy and his, I don't know, what's he on, 6 or 7 books now? I can't, I've lost track.
Oh man, it started with one and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, yep. So the most recent one came out with Kath that he wrote with Catherine Legg about her, you know, her rise into motorsports and dealing with shyness and I believe it's called Cat's Magical Helmet. That book's available now through Red Racer Books, and um, yeah, it's great. You're seeing Andy's books pop up everywhere, and he's got some more books on the way that he's been working on, and you know,
Yeah, it's
good.
awesome. Great kids books.
Yeah, really good for him. It's really starting to make a name out there with it. And he did kind of hint that he had some other things in the works, but it's not our place to discuss. And frankly, I don't know the details, so it's not going to get anything out of me anyway.
Steel Trap.
Oh yeah. So what else did we miss?
We've been touching on
Oh,
driver changes.
yeah, we missed. Speaking of that, yeah,
There's rumor that's really picking up. I don't know if there's any validity to it, but it kind of makes for a fun conspiracy too that I
yeah,
see
yeah. We got to
the
put the tinfoil hats on
people
for this next one.
talking. Supposedly, people they're probably wanting to see it, but may or may not be in talks. Max going to Mercedes.
Yeah, and the kicked off here last weekend, and Max, well, on the lap one, well, that was a weird start to the race last weekend. Carlos Sainz couldn't get going. Finally gets going. Has
His
to,
rear catches on fire.
yeah, has to fly to catch the field, but then, yeah, everybody's done with the formation lap, and they show the map on the screen, and he's like a third of the way through the course, and everybody's like finishing up like, on the formation lap. And then so he has to take it into the pits at Austria, and yeah, his rears catch on fire.
Yeah,
Oh, so they delay the start. Finally, after like 10 minutes, they get going, and Kimi Antonelli locks up, goes for an aggressive move,
he's
locks
gonna
up.
try to dive what 2, 3, 4 cars.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty aggressive. And so he locks up, takes out Max.
Yep.
Max comes on the radio, bleeping idiots. Yeah, gets out of the car. Is like, this. The body language didn't match the message. Let's say
It's funny. Everybody's like, if that had been George Russell that did that, you would have
yeah, they might
seen
have
all
been.
the memes of drivers like charging at others,
Yeah, there might have been a fight.
and then you hear talk afterwards like, Kimmy, we make mistakes. It's okay.
So with that and Max finishing out of the points pushed him. What's he like fifth?
He's got to be a good, what, 70 points off of Piastri now.
Yeah, yeah, pretty close. George Russell's almost caught him.
So
So
the
two.
joke behind it is that Kimmy wrecked him so that way it could help trigger his exit clause. Is he's under contract till 2028.
And the rumor is that if they fall out of the constructors like top three and he falls out of the top three, then that can allow him to trigger his exit clause. And he's third right now in the driver's standings. But like I said, George is right there. Red Bull is a distant fourth in the constructors behind Mercedes. McLaren has 417 points to Ferrari's 210. And I don't know if this person was being sarcastic or wow, I'm starting to like fade. Maybe I need to turn my light on now. Now that the sun is kind of off my window. Um, that's better. So somebody pointed out yesterday with the remaining races, if Ferrari finishes 1-2 and McLaren finishes 3-4 the rest of the way, then Ferrari has enough chance to catch McLaren and pass them by 1 point at the end of the year.
That's not gonna happen.
No, no, it's not. But yeah, one can hope and dream. Yeah, to make this a little bit more of a battle. But double points day for Kick.
Yeah,
Bortoletto had a finished eighth. That was a desperate, like he desperately needed a points finish. He has not been very good this year. Granted, it's a Kick. It's not really high expectations at all, but drivers have been fired for less.
yep.
Speaking of fired drivers, my favorite review of the F1 movie so far, which I haven't seen by the way, is that. So you're telling me that Sonny Hayes can wreck a car 4 times in a race and have multiple DNFs and it'd be okay, but Logan Sargent does it for a year and a half and gets fired? uh, you can make that argument for Nick DeVries too, but hey.
Oh, we almost saw a crazy thing during the race. Apparently, he didn't see him. Pinto almost ran Piastri off the
I I didn't
track into a wall.
I didn't see it, but yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he just started moving over on him. It's like, what are you doing? And I guess later on the radio, he's like, I couldn't see him. Mirrors? Did you not know he was back there? Did your engineers not say anything? I would have waited to have seen if contact had been made and Piastri went out, waiting for the social media to light up that it was Oscar's fault for trying to pass a lap car.
Did Piastri actually say this, or was this a parody that like I saw something that's like Alpine's like out continuing, again out to screw him, going back to the reference of them announcing him as a driver, and then he posts the infamous tweet about I have not agreed to any deals with Alpine. I will not be driving for them next year. My favorite though is the guy who printed off the tweet and had Oscar sign it for him, and then he framed it.
That's awesome.
All right,
It's gonna be
so
fun to see what goes with all this. If
fourth.
Max leaves,
So we got a wrap here shortly. So the 4th of July weekend coming up, we have probably the last Chicago street race. Carson Hocevar was randomly walking around the abandoned Chicagoland Speedway and saying like, "Hey, this place is in actually pretty good shape right now." So is that some kind of like assignment from NASCAR to like hype up the return to Chicagoland Speedway? It needs some work. They definitely need to get some landscapers out there and do a little
Yeah,
track
I just
repair.
drove by it a few months ago.
I mean, considering that it's only had like one event in the last 5 years, it doesn't look bad. I mean, there's weeds growing through the track, but
It's
you know
gonna happen.
that can be fixed. Uh, the sign, the infield sign, still has like a faded Sprint Cup logo on it. Yeah,
Yeah, once I finish up something, I'm gonna be making a poke at Chicagoland and IndyCar.
yeah, can we at least get IndyCar back there? I mean,
Fantastic races up there for them.
well, they have been, and it's like that facility. There's no reason to let that facility go to waste. Like, you can make an argument about Kentucky on the viability of a track in the middle of nowhere of Kentucky, but like you want the Chicago market, and if you're
That's
losing
also
the
Iowa. Newton
yeah,
is in the middle of nowhere in
right,
Iowa.
literally, yeah. I don't know what inspired Rusty Wallace to design a racetrack in the middle of Iowa, but hey, NASCAR was trying to expand their market, really expand their market. I mean, if they want to stay in the Chicago, assuming the Chicago street race ends and they want to stay in the Chicago market, you have a viable track just down the road from downtown Chicago.
Yeah, it's not far.
It's like on a good traffic day, you get there in probably 30 or 40 minutes from downtown.
Traffic might not be any better because there's two roads around the entire track, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're
that
not
does
clogging up
seem.
downtown and Lakeshore Drive.
Nope. Just head out to Joliet. So we'll see. There's also the rumors of a street race in San Diego, which could be cool. It gets them back into the Southern California market without having to build a new track to, Auto Club Speedway.
Great track, and they ruined it.
I drove by the exit and we were running kind of late when I was traveling out to California and I wanted to pull off and go take a look, but I didn't have time and wish I would have, but probably would have just further aggravated me seeing it. Oh, we have
Yeah.
picked a winner on our autograph diecast. They have been contacted. We are waiting for them to confirm, and once they confirm and provide their information, then we will make the winner official. So if you've been contacted by me, please respond so I get that shipped out to you. So I think that should about
So,
do it for today.
yeah, got a great weekend of stuff coming up here. If you're listening, have a happy and safe 4th of July.
Keep those digits.
Yep. Run away fast and a good weekend of racing. Formula One at Silverstone
Mid
or
Ohio.
Silverstone, however you want to say it. I hear it all the time both ways. And IndyCar back at Mid Ohio. It's a, I hope that's a fun race. It was competitive last year.
Yeah, I have hope that it will be. But yeah, shout out to David Malukas, by the way.
He's on a
He's
tear.
he is. And Ferrucci as well. AJ's looked really good since
AJ Foyt's going on, working with Penske and
yeah,
might
they're
be
doing
taking
better than
off.
Penske.
Yeah.
Oh man. Who would have thought that?
Keep it up. Santino, David, if you want to come on the show, reach out. We'll get you on. Both those would
Uh,
be fantastic conversations.
yeah, yeah, they would both be fantastic conversations. We got the Ferrucci might be a little bit of a lightning rod, but hey, what do they say about uh any publicity is good publicity? What?
Yeah. It'd be
Yeah,
fun.
you get a lightning rod personality to come on your show. Yeah, he's a controversial personality. That's for sure with some of the things he's done and said over the years. But
Yeah.
still, I think he'd be a fantastic conversation.
And then the Chicago Street Race. Who
Probably
do
the
we
last
think
one.
wins that?
I won't. I'll tell you who afterwards, but somebody we know did a Chicago street race in iRacing, and they're like, whose bright idea was to build that?
iRacing.
Parker Kligerman made a comment like, if you're not brushing the wall at least once on a lap through there, you weren't going fast enough. Like, that's comforting.
Does it not rain finally in Chicago for this year?
I haven't looked at the forecast. Let's see.
Because it has rained and start delayed and shortened the race, and we've seen it all.
60% chance of rain on Sunday. uh,
That's your sign right there to say,
holy
get rid
crap.
of this race.
They are projecting a half inch of rain for Chicago on Sunday. But
Oh,
Saturday's going to be completely clear.
of course.
I guess
Excited to get some dry
yeah. Well, I
track.
mean, there's a 20% chance, but not till after they would be racing on Saturday night. So, oh, we're gonna have a 3 for 3 rainy Chicago street race. So, on that note, at FR Racing Online, give us a follow. We got bottom split for round 2 coming up Monday night. Wednesday night dashes finale will be on the 16th, and Indy Racing World Series is back on the 15th. So register for that,
Come on out, come race.
and we will see you again next week.
Take care.